Yeah.
5, 4.
Hello everyone and welcome to a Frontier Enterprise video interview. So today we have with us Kumar Mitra, who's a GM and MD Central Asia Pacific Lenovo ISG. Hi Kumar.
Hey, hi man. Thank you for inviting me and I'm looking forward to the discussions.
Brilliant. Thank you for being here. So we're going to talk about the hybrid cloud, right? So, just to sort of get an overall picture from you, when it comes to selecting a particular cloud model, whether it's hybrid, public, private, or no cloud at all, how does the enterprise go about, making that sort of decision?
Yeah, it's a great question, by the way. And I think it's very relevant in today's world because there's been a lot of discussion around cloud for a long period of time.
Yeah, at least a decade or so now.
Yeah, it's been a long period of time. And a lot of people initially didn't realize what is all this about. Right?
Yeah.
And my sort of reading on this is, cloud is not a destination. A lot of people thought cloud is a destination. Cloud is will solve all my problems that I have today or all my challenges that I have. Cloud is not a destination. Unfortunately, cloud is not somebody else's data center. For me, cloud is an operating model, and an operating model where you might have multiple clouds, if I may say so.
Yeah.
You might have a cloud which is on-prem. You might have cloud which might be off-prem, and within off-prem, you might have multiple clouds, right? So we see a lot of our customers having scenarios or having current infrastructures or have plans to move towards that sort of an infrastructure where they will have multiple clouds to manage. So. And how do you go about doing that? I think fundamentally you look for three things. You have to define what's the outcome that you're looking for.
Right.
Are you trying to drive efficiency around your costs?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that your consideration? Are you trying to drive efficiency around productivity, right? And productivity is a key thing because, and I'm talking about application productivity because that's where all your business runs. That's all your data is stored and managed and massaged, right? So application productivity application efficiency is significant, right? And third is, are you trying to drive people productivity? And people, not about just managing data center infrastructure, but all your internal users of IT.
Right.
Are you trying to drive an efficient way so that they are more productive and by way they are accessing applications and driving outcomes, right? So that's one. So define your outcome, that's important. Second is, I think, look back at your application landscape.
Right.
Not all applications might be ready to go off-prem.
Yeah.
There would be a certain set of applications which are probably core to your business.
Yeah.
Without that, your business might not run. Very stable sort of a workload characteristics those applications might have.
Right.
So those applications might stay on-prem actually. You might decide to keep those applications on-prem. But there are set of applications which are probably born in the cloud itself, right? Or cloud first, right? And those are new applications for you. So you really don't know what's their usage metrics would be, how well they would be adopted by your users, and that could be internal users, that could be your external users, that could be your customer-facing apps also, if you may say so. Those can probably go off-prem because off-prem gives you a flexibility of a scale up and a scale down of your infrastructure depending on where the requirement is. So the first thing is define your outcome that you're looking for. Second is define your app landscape because that's critical. Then you'd realize is which way I want to go. I want to go lock, stock, barrel off-prem, or I want to have a balance between off-prem, on-prem. And then third is, that is I think the most important one is, how do you sort of harmonize the experience between your multiple cloud sites?
Right.
And when I say experience, I'm talking about things like, how do I make my app and data mobile across all these sites? If I have to move one app from one site to the other site, can I do that seamlessly? Okay. If I have to have my data move from my production site, which is off-prem, to my DR site, which is at on-prem, can I do that seamlessly? What's my security policies around that? How am I managing all these applications? What's my visibility levels are? Do I have a single pane of glass in terms of where I can sort of see how my applications are performing? Which applications have different workload characteristics? Which applications might have a significant challenge in terms of infrastructure usage? So I think those considerations of running that entire application set or running the entire business processes will be critical. That's the third thing I think you have to look at as you start looking at your cloud model.
That's interesting. You mentioned about the single pane of glass, right? So a single dashboard, obviously, that goes across the clouds, across premises.
Right.
But in terms of complexity, right, are we looking at greater complexity coming into the entire IT infrastructure picture with the cloud?
Let me put it this way. The traditional data centers, if I may call them, the traditional data centers that you there, they're already complex.
Right.
Because what you have there, you have multiple siloed application islands, right? Where probably one application doesn't talk to one another, right? Where data cannot be transportable, is not transportable across applications.
Yes.
Where you might not have a consistent policies around security.
Right.
Consistent policies around provisioning, consistent policies around orchestration, okay? How do you take that landscape and be ready for a digital transformation that your customers are demanding today?
Right.
Right? So that's the question that you have to ask yourself as a customer, that am I ready for the next century where my sort of marketplace is sort of evolving dramatically?
Yeah.
And good or bad, this pandemic has taught you that technology can be the biggest enabler for you to stay competitive and stay relevant and stay in business, right? So how do I take my traditional data center and make it digital first, cloud first, and be ready for the next century?
Right.
I think that's the decision that the customer has to make. Will the hybrid cloud, multiple cloud, on-prem cloud, is it less complex than traditional data centers? Possibly not. They're probably equally, I would say equally complicated. But at the same time, the outcome that you get is far better than what you're getting today. Because
Right.
what you look at your sort of, what is sort of end state that you're looking for? End state that you're looking for is that any user within my enterprise, be it an internal user, be it an external user, can seamlessly, securely access the application, be productive with what their responsibilities are, and those applications are driving or in line with all the SLAs that my businesses has.
Right.
End of the day, those application landscape or those IT landscape or the IT architecture that I have is actually enabling me to be competitively differentiated from my competitor.
Yeah.
Am I using technology to make myself more differentiated in a crowded marketplace that I operate, and to ensure that I'm more relevant as I go to the next century?
Yeah. So especially with the global customers now,
Right.
global employee bases.
Right.
All the multiple regions provided by the cloud providers.
Right.
Those really make a difference rather than keeping everything on premise.
Absolutely.
It's going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. End of the day, something will still probably stay on-prem because
Right.
that's the nature of the business, nature of the application would be.
Yes.
But at the same time, you will have to be open to ideas of managing multiple data centers, if I may say so. Some
Right.
data centers are on-prem, some data centers are off-prem. That's the only difference. But at the same time, can I have the experience consistent across all these data centers?
Yeah.
That is most critical. Is my data always available as and when I require?
Right.
Because today we are moving, and I'm talking about users here, today we are moving to a scenario where it's working from anywhere actually.
Yes.
There's nothing called a remote workforce anymore. You can work from anywhere.
Yeah.
The moment you have a laptop, for
Correct.
example, I'm working from home right now.
Yeah.
Right. I've got my Lenovo laptop, connect to my VPN. I can access all the applications that I need to run my business effectively and efficiently. For example, if I have to access my CRM tool to run my forecast calls with my sales teams, I can do that efficiently sitting anywhere as long as I have an internet connectivity and my VPN connects.
Yeah.
That sort of productivity, I think we will have to get to that stage. And that's where every customer is looking for, because every customer also has a business to run.
Correct.
And they're looking for that similar sort of productivity, user experience, and effectivity, and all that stuff around the application landscape.
Yeah, that's really interesting because at some point it was just that you had global customers,
Right.
but you had a single point of geography where you had your
Right.
employees.
Right.
But now everything is distributed, both your employee pool and your customer base.
And that brings sort of an interesting discussion because we are talking about clouds now.
Yeah.
But and I'm sort of deviating from what we are discussing right now. But the next big sort of evolution would happen, what we call as edge computing.
Yeah.
What are we doing with edge computing is basically, if you look at, and as you said, we have distributed workforce now.
Yeah.
We have distributed sites now, okay? And we have machines, if I may call, which are intelligent enough to communicate.
Right.
You no longer have those age of dumb machines, right? Everything today has got a chip,
Yeah.
a microprocessor into it. So your washing machine can talk, your refrigerator can talk, your weighing scales can talk.
Yeah.
Right? And it could be machines at the edge, it could be your light meter on a street light can talk, right? Now, if you just imagine, and obviously, the more important, the cars can talk now, right? So let's think about that sort of a scenario. The amount of data that you will create at those points of activity, you cannot really haul it back to a single data center.
Yeah. Yeah.
No network bandwidth, how big, how fat that might be, will be able to haul that back.
Yeah.
So you will have to provide computing at where those activities are happening. So you might actually get to a scenario, CIO has already started thinking, he or she might get to a scenario where they will have mini data centers.
Yeah.
They might not have those big 4 or 5 data centers and we are done with it.
Yeah.
You will probably have 1,500 mini data centers now where you need to have your infrastructure present where those activities are happening, where those actions are. Can I get my infrastructure close to the application? Can I get my infrastructure close to where the data is being created?
Yeah.
So that's the next evolution if you ask me. I'm sure when we talk in probably years down the line or 2 years down the line, we'll not talk about hybrid cloud. We'll talk about a totally different cloud. We'll probably talk about edge cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And little boxes everywhere that
Absolutely.
you need.
And those are all
you need to
intelligent
provide.
boxes. Think about 2 Tesla cars talking to each other,
Yeah.
communicating to each other. And
Yeah.
you just extrapolate that into 300,000 Tesla cars on the road. That amount of data being created at that point in time, you have to process and make decisions based on that.
Yeah.
It could be decisions around traffic management, it could be decisions around incident management, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Right? So
And hauling that back to the data center is just senseless because
it's too
by
expensive.
the time,
It's not only cost efficient, it's not inefficient.
Yeah.
It's also very, very inefficient from a complete infrastructure.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So yeah.
So let's get to Lenovo itself, right?
Right.
What do you think it is that differentiates Lenovo from the other players, and also what is sort of why Lenovo basically?
Perfect. I think that's a great question actually, and I would start saying look at the Lenovo's portfolio. Okay?
Right.
And if you look at Lenovo's portfolio, probably we are the only ones. And by the way, my manager Sumir actually keeps on referring, which I think is a good line to talk about. He talks about a pocket to data center.
Right.
So Lenovo has everything from your smartphones to your cloud solutions, right?
Right.
So, and we are good at what we do.
Right.
We are very good, and that's our vision, that we want to be the best infrastructure platform provider as a customer starts building that entire digital transformation journey. So we are good at that. That is one part of the story. What we are also good at is also building an ecosystem of alliances and partners who can actually enable us to provide that entire end-to-end solutions.
Yeah.
Okay, because whenever we have a conversation with our customers, our focus is on the customer and their outcomes and their requirements. Once that is sort of determined, we need to go and figure out with our alliance and partners like Nutanix, like VMware, like Veeam, like Red Hat, or with our larger partners like Kyndryl or even DXC or Capgemini, is how do we sort of structure an end-to-end solution which actually meets the customer outcomes. Lenovo sort of owns the entire engagement and sort of drive the best outcome for the customer. So I think that's the second part of it. And the third is, I think, what I say is our obsession with customers. And I sort of referred slightly before in that. I think as a company, we are really obsessed about customers.
Right.
And I'm not talking about just selling our product. Okay, selling our product is probably the start of the relationship. I think how we have built relationships over a period of time. In fact, in my region, I have customers who have been engaged with Lenovo for over a decade.
Right.
And they sort of keep on coming back and buying from us and engaging with us. And the reason why they do it, I think, is sort of boils down to two things. One is the entire experience of engaging with Lenovo, and that boils down to how we sort of understands customers' outcomes, how our people are sort of focused on customers. Second is, I think, after the entire selling experience has happened, the entire post-sales support experience that we provide. I think that's a big focus area for us. So I think that's the other reason why a customer should look at. The last bit, I think, is very, very critical for us. Our go-to-market is very consistent. Our go-to-market or route-to-market is 100% partners. We don't have two ways about it. Everything that we do today within our GTM or RTM strategy, partner is right and center of this entire discussion. Okay, how would this GTM and RTM benefit a partner from being profitable with us, being relevant with us, and being sustainable with us? Because that's also critical, because today's business is all about sustainability, right? So I think the entire partnership focus is also critical. So I would say those are probably the critical 4 reasons why somebody should look at Lenovo, why our customer should look at Lenovo, or why partners should look at Lenovo.
Brilliant. Finally, talking about TrueScale, right? That's
Yeah.
something that you guys have been talking about over the
Right.
past year. So,
Right.
so could you explain a little bit about what TrueScale exactly is, and what's the impetus behind the release of TrueScale?
Great, and that's a great question actually, to be honest. And I was talking about this operating model of cloud and the discussion around the cost efficiency. See, one of the reasons if you go to a customer and say, why would you like to go to public cloud? Probably the top two reasons out of the three or the top five reasons would be, one would be that scale up and scale down.
Yeah.
Second would be the operating model, the cost operating model.
Right.
Because it's like a utility, right? You pay it like an utility. It's
Yeah.
like an electricity or a gas that you pay at your homes, right? So can I convert my entire IT usage to an utility model?
Right.
That was the entire thought process on TrueScale. So can I convert when a customer wants to buy or engage a Lenovo solution, can I convert that into an utility model where
Right.
a customer actually operates on a pay as they use model? Okay, so that was one. Second thought process was keeping customer in mind, how do I make it flexible depending on their environments? Okay, so we have so when we talk about utility model, we're talking about a metering model, right? We are talking about a metering metrics, right? So we have a metering metric which is customizable depending on customer environments.
Right.
So we don't have one standard metering model. So we would look at a customer environment, we would look at a customer landscape and suggest that this metering model would work for you. Okay, because some applications might be better served with a metering metric of, say, power consumption.
Right.
Some applications might be a better metering metric would be probably a VMs, number of VMs that you would have, number
Right.
of virtual VMs or number of virtual RAMs that you would have. So I think that's the other sort of differentiation. And third is, even with a utility model like TrueScale, we have sort of gone and worked with alliances like you would see a lot of announcements coming through. We have alliances with Nutanix, we have alliances with VMware, where we have brought their entire solution with the Lenovo infrastructure as a pay-by-use model, as a utility model. So what it makes, the benefit for the customer is that customer can actually buy the entire solution off the shelf from us and start using it from day one. Think about like a virtual desktop interface, VDI.
Yeah.
We have an end-to-end solution with, say, Nutanix and Citrix, where we can give a customer a per user per month sort of a usage pattern. So customer says, I want a 300 user VDI. They just subscribe to it.
Yeah.
It's like subscribing to a Netflix.
Yeah.
Watch your movies streaming, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the third thing. And fourth is obviously it's sort of backed by the entire Lenovo support services and the entire sort of product infrastructure, quality, and everything. And the last bit is something that you will hear very soon is we are also building that model and the sort of the economics around the model to see how our partners and distributors can take it to the market.
Right.
Okay? So it is not going to be just a Lenovo direct sort of an approach. It is going to be through partners and distributors. So that's the reason we are sort of so excited about TrueScale, because our marketplace is actually talking about it.
Yeah.
Our customers are actually asking about it.
Right.
Can I have a same operating model or same cost model in an on-prem data center with your infrastructure? And today our answer is yes, we can have. And you can decide what sort of an operating model that you want to have, what sort of metric you want to have. How do you want to go about doing it? Is it a 3-year, 5-year, 1 year? What sort of commit levels you want to do it? How you want to provision your infrastructure? So the discussion is on a very different sort of a level. So that's the reason we are.
That's interesting. I mean, it's basically the consumerization of enterprise IT in a sense, right?
Absolutely. It's about bringing the power to the customers. The customer can decide. Customer can say, this is the application that I want to roll out. This is the number of users that are going to access the application. This is how much I'm going to pay every month.
And do you think that the future is IT as a service? Are we heading towards that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we have seen different flavors of that already. We have
Right.
seen infrastructure as a service, software as a service. There are a lot of SaaS companies who have been there for a long time. I think the entire IT as a utility model,
Yeah.
I think the time has already come. It's just a matter of time before customers actually adopt it. I think as solution providers like us, we are already building models which are matured enough to deliver that sort of a offering for the customers.
Brilliant. And over the past couple of years, especially because of COVID, we've been hearing more of that demand from the customer side as well.
Absolutely. And I think now one of the things that COVID has taught us, apart from the fact that technology can be an enabler and how technology can be useful, is all about the value and the power of subscription.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have subscribed for anything and everything, right?
Yeah.
You look at the online business, not only in e-commerce, but I keep talking about Netflix as an experience.
Yeah.
You look at the power of subscription.
Yeah.
You subscribe to anything and you get the service that you're expecting.
Yeah.
So IT, if you ask me, IT is going to be like a streaming service at some point in time.
Yeah.
You subscribe to it and you say, I want the VDI service with this SLA to be streamed to my 300 users to get an access. Possibly you'll get to that level.
Brilliant.
That's probably the future, right?
Brilliant. I mean, my entire entertainment box is basically an OpEx model right now.
That's exactly what I'm
You've
saying.
got
And you can switch.
Yeah.
Right? And the beauty is you can switch, right?
Correct.
You don't have a lock-in, right? You can
Yeah.
switch off from, say, Netflix to a Prime.
Or you can have both.
Absolutely, you can
Yeah.
have both. You have the choice, right?
Yeah.
So the choice is yours, right? And that's where IT is also heading towards, right? Enterprise IT. And how we sell enterprise IT is going to change. So people like me, we'll have to sort of change also, and how we talk to our customers, right?
Brilliant. Excellent. I think it's exciting times.
Absolutely.
Excellent. I think we are entirely out of time. So thanks so much, Kumar.
A pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for inviting me over, and I'm looking forward to the next round.
Yeah. Hopefully, when we'll have even more revolutions within the IT
Absolutely,
space.
absolutely. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
And thank you all, everyone.
Hey, thank you all.
Thank you.